Buenas tardes, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Gabriel. Gabriel, ¿cómo quieres que te llame? Gabriel o Gabriel, no importa.
Mi nombre es Gabriel, pero Gabriel también.
Está bien, Gabriel. Bien. Gracias por invitarme a formar parte de este grupo. As I was sitting here listening to Ray, I was thinking about my own journey in the Rio Grande Valley as an artist. And when he mentioned that he started, what did he say, it was 10 years ago with the open mic. I was thinking about that I also started with an open mic, but that was back in 2009. And the reason I started there, and it was Savory Perks in Westlaco, Texas. It was a small coffee place with delicious pastries. It closed a long time ago, unfortunately. But I started there as an MC. But previous to that, I was involved with the Valley scene thanks to the IPF, the Valley International Poetry Festival. And because of that festival, I was able to meet a lot of poets, a lot of local poets that I still talk with and I still see in all of these events. I want to say that VIPF was my launch. That's how I became known as a poet. And that's also where I was able to get the confidence to stand in front of people and share poetry, which is something that's so difficult to do for a lot of us because we're basically naked in front of all of you. Estamos desnudas, estamos desnudos, estamos hablándoles con el corazón y estamos diciéndoles a todos lo que traemos en la mente y el corazón. So it's very difficult. But it was also a beautiful experience and it continues to be. Ray also mentioned collaborating. As poets, it's very important to collaborate with each other here in the Rio Grande Valley because it's not such a big place and it is a close-knit community of poets, of novelists, of painters, of actors and actresses, like Miss Wendy over there. Hola. And talented poets who are also just starting, perhaps, like Rosalba, and photographers like Lucy. So there's an opportunity here in the Rio Grande Valley to interact with each other and form collaborations so that we continue to expand as artists and get to know other aspects of ourselves. Let me tell you what I mean by collaboration. So about 7 years ago, I started collaborating with a poet from here, from the Rio Grande Valley, and an artist, a visual artist, Miss Corinne Whitmore. We have collaborated to the point where we have produced a book, and it's still in the works, Border Mujeres. But the collaboration part was so beautiful because I was able to work with a fellow poet whom I had already admired for many years, Miss Katie Hirth. And then I came to know this other visual artist, Miss Corinne Whitmore. And I never thought that I would be working with a visual artist. So that experience connected me to other areas of the Valley that has talent, the talent of Miss Corinne Whitmore. And I was very grateful that I had this collaboration during the pandemic because even though the world seemed like going to hell, going up in flames, I had this niche, I had this window into Corinne's life and into Miss Katie Hirth's life. And all three would come together every Sunday in our homes, thanks to Zoom, and then continue to collaborate. So I continue to create thanks to those spaces, speaking of spaces that open up via Zoom. So that didn't stop. Nor did the spaces for poetry stop because Ceres Magaña, whom you know and whom Pedro knows very well, Ceres Magaña is a writer, he's a playwright, he's a poet, Renaissance man. Thanks to him, there was also an open space on the internet where we could all meet and all share our poetry. So that was also wonderful. So collaborating here with each other from different genres, from different walks of life even, is very important because that's how you're gonna get to know the other artists who are here in the valley. And there's, like you said, Gabriel, there's so much talent here that all you have to do is go to any open mic, go to any art exhibit, go to any photography exhibit, and you're going to see that the talent is here. I consider myself a veteran here in the Rio Grande Valley because I have been doing this emceeing and sharing my poems since 2008, 2009, more or less. And I have hosted events all over the valley, and I have participated, as he mentioned, in Cuba, thanks to my husband. Over there, they don't have, it's not open mic. They're called peñas. Yes, me corriges? Peñas. I still don't know why they're called peñas, but it's a space where the community can gather and share poetry and share songs and anything they want.
Musician too.
¿Perdón?
Músico también.
Músicos, sí. Comparten música, comparten poesía, comparten actuación. It's wonderful. And that's what I want to continue to see here in the Rio Grande Valley. So hopefully through this, I'm going to be able to come across more diverse artists and continue to expose my poetry and continue to hopefully MC as well. Something that I didn't do because of the pandemic, that everything came to a halt, as you all know. Todo paró because of the pandemic. And so a lot of the venues that were once open for us closed. And unfortunately, many of those venues just closed permanently. I'm thinking right now about Luna Coffee House. And that's where we would gather every Saturday. They had an open mic. And that's where I was able to listen to so many artists here from the Rio Grande Valley. Pero ese cerró, and so many others. So little by little, the venues are being reopened, and I'm hoping to get back into the scene as well, because I have been away for maybe a year and a half, away from the poetry events, away from MCing, but I want to go back into that, and also conducting writing workshops, which is another one of my passions. And so I can only say that thank you, Gabriel, for opening up this space. Looking forward to it. I'm very excited because I know that it's going to be just good things. Good things are going to happen thanks to this. I consider myself a bilingual poet because I do write in Spanish and I do write in English. I have a book that I published with A.M. or Editoriales from Brownsville. And aviéntamelo. No. And this is a book filled with poems about love and loss. I'm not going to read from here. I do want to share a poem that I usually share where I'm invited to speak as a bilingual poet. And the poem is titled Beneath My Tongue, and that's the one that I'm going to close with. Y luego, si me quieren hacer alguna pregunta, por favor, háganme alguna pregunta. Beneath My Tongue. It's like my biography. Habla un poquito de todo lo que yo soy y algunas cosas por las que he pasado. A ver quién reconoce algunas de las cosas que menciono yo aquí. Beneath my tongue. A la rurru nene, duérmaseme ya, porque viene el coco y se la comerá. Mother's rhythmic lullabies while she cradled me in her arms live beneath my tongue. Ahí viene la A, con sus dos patitas muy abiertas al marchar. Gavilé Soler and his imaginative children's songs taught in kindergarten live beneath my tongue. Ángel de mi guarda, dulce compañía, no me desampares ni de noche ni de día. Grandmother's prayers of protection live beneath my tongue. Y te quiero más que mis ojos, porque mis ojos te vieron. Pedro Infante singing to María Félix, live beneath my tongue. Desde el cielo una hermosa mañana, la guadalupana. Religious songs to our indigenous Virgin Mother live beneath my tongue. Bienvenidos a 24 horas. Y aún hay más. Tenía que ser el Chavo del 8. Soy su amigo Cepillín, Cepillín. Alabío, alabao, alabín, bomba. En el nombre del cielo. A la víbora, víbora de la mar, de la mar. Television shows, childhood games, and pilgrimages live beneath my tongue. I live and breathe between two cultures. I am Mexican. I am American. I am a woman. I am an educated woman with a bifurcated tongue. I speak English and write it better than those born here. I'm a Mexican American educated woman with a bifurcated tongue, and an entire rich culture lives beneath my tongue. That is why I speak with an accent. My Mexicanness peers through my teeth and refuses to be silent. It says, aquí estoy y no me voy. It whispers, I stay here as a reminder of all that you were and everything you brought with you and shall remain beneath your tongue. Muchísimas gracias.
I got a question for you.
Do-
What's the name of the title of your book?
The title of my book is Of Love and Departures, de Amor y Despedidas.
It's a bilingual book.
It's a bilingual book. What I did with this, I spent 3 years working with this book, working with the poems, because the same poems that appear in Spanish are the same ones in English. And sometimes my inspiration came in English, and so the poems I wrote in English. And sometimes the poems came to me in Spanish, and then I wrote them in Spanish. But there were some that I translated, and it's very difficult to translate. I am a bilingual translator. That's my side gig. And it's very difficult to translate poetry. I much rather translate short stories, you name it, anything but poetry, especially with rhymes. So difficult to translate.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
tried that.
Sí, muy difícil traducir.
Yes.
Pero me encanta hacerlo. So I keep doing it. ¿Alguna pregunta? ¿Comentario?
Where can we get your book? Purchase it.
You can get my book right now if you like. I brought 4 copies with me.
Cash App, PayPal.
Cash App, yes, PayPal,
Friends.
everything. Yes. Gracias.
¿Me explicaste de qué trata tu libro?
El libro trata, the book is about losing someone whom I love dearly to cancer. And so the poems were inspired. The poems came to me as this person was suffering from cancer when he was diagnosed and when he was going through it and after his death. And that's what the poems talk about. They weave a story about love and loss. Gracias por preguntar.
Bueno, una pregunta que quiero hacerte yo, que te tengo en casa a las 24/7 y no te la he hecho. ¿Por qué el mar de portada?
¿Por qué el mar? Porque because everything that happened near the ocean. Because I live near the ocean in Port Isabel. And so I drew inspiration from the sea, from the ocean, and also because by this time I had already lost my mother to cancer. And her ashes are also in that ocean. And this person's ashes are now in that ocean.
Sí, sus seres queridos y muchos seres queridos
Mi papá
también se
también.
depositan en el mar, o sea, depositan
Las cenizas.
las cenizas en el mar. Sí.
Por eso.
Ok,
Gracias por la pregunta.
gracias por la respuesta.
¿Por qué el mar? Another question? Comment. Algo que quizás, una conexión que tuvieron con el poema que leí, que quizás también crecieron con esos shows o les cantan
Yo,
todavía esas canciones.
Definitivamente me relaciono
transporté.
con todo, casi todo lo que mencionaste. Me trajo recuerdos de mi niñez, Cepillín,
Cepillín,
uh,
Chavo del Ocho.
Velasco, el Chavo del Ocho,
Raúl
Raúl
Velasco.
Velasco, siempre en domingo. All these shows, Mexican shows that now seem so alien almost, but you know, you go and you watch them again. I mean, I haven't seen any of those shows lately, but like sometimes I'll just look up a clip, right?
Sure.
De El Chavo del Ocho, como, sobre todo, they used to have a much more bigger show, que era el Chespirito,
Sí,
¿verdad?
con otros personajes.
que tenía muchos personajes, very different characters, not just El Chavo.
Exacto.
And I used to love that part of
Yeah.
it because it was so much talent that they would go from one character to another. Era el chavo in one, and then he was uno de los cacos, one of the robbers.
Yeah, the thieves.
And then in another one, he was something totally different.
Yes.
And there's these sketches that you hardly ever see them anymore. Mm-hmm. But they were so smart, and
they were smart, and they
so
played
well
with
done.
language more than anything. What with all these shows and the songs, the religious songs, what I have, what I have from everything is the language. My love for language.
Yes.
The fact that in Mexico, los mexicanos jugamos mucho con el lenguaje, somos muy pícaros. And that's what I learned by watching those comedies. And that's what I try to bring into my poetry. The play on words, the imagery that you can elicit with just the right word. And that is my purpose as a poet, to take you on those journeys with me through my poems. I weave stories.
Yo tengo una pregunta también.
Sí, Pedro.
¿Has considerado en algún momento con tu larga trayectoria de escritora de poesía adaptar alguna de tus poesías o escribir algo original en formato de teatro o de cine?
Muy interesante. When I was taking a playwriting class at UTRGV, that's when I thought I was going to continue writing more obras de teatro, because I did write 2 or 3. I would love to share with you some of the ones that I wrote. One of them was an assignment, and it had to be reenacted or put on the scene by actors, and it was a 10-minute play. And I love the creation. I love sitting down to create characters and make them talk and put words into their mouths. So I did enjoy it. And I thought I was going to continue with it, but it was a poetry is the one that keeps pulling me into its lair, and that's what I end up doing. As far as a script for a short movie, I'm open to it. I have participated. I participated with Miss Carmona. The first name escapes me. Carmona from Corpus Christi, en una película corta que ella tituló El Poeta, and it's based on her grandfather. And I translated part of the play. I translated a poem in that script, en ese guión. And so I got a taste of it. We went to the premiere, the red carpet. It was wonderful. So I got a taste of that. I got a taste of the playwriting. But I'm open to it, sure. If somebody was to invite me to participate as a writer, I would do it.
Yes, and if I may, one of the reasons I ask also is because there is an emergence of local filmmakers. And one of the most important aspects, which I plan to talk about a little bit here in my talk, is about better scripts or good scripts, and not to decry any of the filmmakers, because they sure make an effort and they try, and we all fall in love with our own work, is what I've heard. But sometimes they might need someone with experience that could really write good dialogue and a good story. And so I think that maybe someone might want to commission you in the future, especially filmmakers or theater companies, to consider some of your stuff. Mm-hmm. Right?
And what I found myself writing about in those plays that I was asked to write in that class for that class at UTRGV was I rely heavily on the stories from my own family, because we have some family dramas, mamas, that could easily be part of some scandal in a show, one of those scandalous shows, because of the interplay of the strong family members that I have in my family. A lot of them already have passed on; they're dead, pero dejaron unas historias bastante fuertes, and that's what I found myself going back to. That treasure trove of family stories that I don't want them to die forever.
Sí, por ejemplo, hay películas como una que vi en Netflix, vamos a usar de ejemplo hace unos días, Far Away, puesta en Croacia y en Europa. Una simple historia de dos parejas que se encuentran ya casi llegando a su tercera edad, pero se encuentra el amor entre el transcurso de problemas y obstáculos que ellos enfrentan. Pero la escritora de esa novela, y que se hizo película, y no, pues es alguien que tuvo experiencia en escribir una historia, como te dice, tangible, contable, vamos a decir, y que no tiene que ser, pues puede ser de cualquier género, ¿verdad? En este caso puede algo romántico y algo que es relatable to everyone.
Yes.
So sure. I look forward to more local filmmakers tackling those kinds of stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll be glad to audition for a part.
All right, ya quiere trabajo, Pedro.
No, pero también quiero que personas sepan lo importante que es tener un buen libreto.
Claro que sí. Gracias, Pedro. Wendy.
Bueno, en este punto creo que es importante hablar de las colaboraciones, porque como ahorita con el flashback que hiciste de nuestra niñez,
Sí.
pero me imagino como lo hiciste a tu manera poética, y siempre te lo he dicho, me encanta como dices las cosas, como declamas, y sobre todo escucharte cantar. Bueno, en el caso de, por ejemplo, que tengo baile aquí, o sea, yo como actriz me imaginé ya la escena también, o sea, en artes escénicas me pude proyectar en tu poema. Él tal vez ya lo vio como que de una manera ya como fílmica también, y lo que menciona Pedro también, como enviarlo. Entonces creo que es bonito saber, pues ese es el punto de este tipo de reuniones, ¿no? Para ver en qué nos enriquecemos, porque pues al fin de cuentas somos ramas del mismo árbol
Muy bien dicho.
En las artes. Entonces, con el conocimiento de cada uno, creo que se puede hacer algo,
Claro
muy bien, aparte
algo bello.
de todo el talento que hay en el baile.
Mucho talento.
Felicidades.
Sí, muchísimas gracias, and thank you everyone for being here, for supporting the arts, for supporting this project. Y de nuevo, gracias a todos ustedes, gracias a Gabriel.
Thank you.